Hello, you fine ladies and gentlemen, how are you all doing? As you may know, the Bespin DLC for Star Wars Battlefront released just over a week ago, and so far, I have been really enjoying it. Unfortunately, I have not been doing so well in Bespin. Although the maps are beautiful, they certainly take a little getting used to, and are suited to certain types of engagements with specific ranges. When making this loadout, which is meant to be a solid overall loadout for Bespin, as I really wasn't doing too well with the loadout I was using, so I really wanted to make a new loadout that I could play with that would handle the Bespin maps. And I really wanted to use the A280C. I think it's a great blaster in the game, and seeing as the engagement ranges in the maps vary from long to short, I thought the A280C would perform admirably, as it is very versatile and is suitable for multiple ranges. In my opinion, it is best at medium range, so I thought it would be a great compromise between the long and short ranges seen in Bespin and provide a nice balance. However, I found that my logic was flawed, and after some testing, that it would be better to use a blaster that was proficient at either of the two ranges rather than a blaster that is balanced between both. Therefore, I chose to use the DH-17, and it is very prominent at close ranges while still being able to handle some medium range encounters. Then, to support the long range aspects of the Bespin maps, this loadout utilizes the pulse cannon, which is great for long and medium ranges. As for the second star card, this loadout uses the backed bomb, which is definitely one of my favorite star cards in the game. This will of course give us a health boost and regenerate our health if we have taken damage. There's no real correlation between the backed bomb and the Bespin maps, but it's really a great star card all the same. For the charge card, we're going to be using the scan pulse. The new disruption charge card would also be a great choice, but I did not have it unlocked at the time, and it is really only meant for close ranges. On the other hand, the scan pulse can be useful at both close and medium range, and it is very good ability overall. Also, I expect the disruption charge card will be receiving a nerf soon, as it can be a little cheap sometimes. When a player is hit with the disruption, it overheats their weapon and they have to hit the cooling flush, which is that yellow bit on the red bar if you didn't know. However, when you're hit with the disruption charge card, it stalls the player from activating the cooling flush for a second or two, which makes it very hard to come out on top if you're hit with the disruption. So perhaps if DICE negates that little stall before the player is enabled to activate the cooling flush, it may be a little more balanced and be a very good card to use. Now, this loadout utilizes the Bounty Hunter trait card. I certainly tried out the Berserker trait, however, I found that I was not able to perform very well with it on the new Bespin maps. The Berserker trait really caters to more close quarters combat, where you can get kill streaks more easily, as the trait effectively weakens the player if it's not at rank 3. So in long range, where there isn't a lot of cover, this trait just isn't as prominent. So instead, using the Bounty Hunter trait has a chance to reward the player with random power-ups, which can be surprisingly beneficial on the battlefield. There's multiple occasions where I've come across a huge group of enemies and been able to take one or two out and then run into cover and just be granted something like a thermal detonator or a smart rocket, which I can then use to come out on top. So it is actually a very beneficial trait, and I think a lot of people overlook it. Now, overall, this loadout is pretty basic if you think about it. It doesn't use any of the new star cards or charge cards or even a new blaster, but it's really just meant to be proficient on these new maps, even if we don't completely understand the maps yet. Something that can really affect how well you do in the game is your knowledge of the maps. Once you become familiar with a map, you definitely have an edge over players who don't, as you will begin to understand common flanking routes and good places for cover, or whether or not enemies are going to be coming from here or there, and the spawn locations of the enemies as well. And since the new maps for Bespin only just released, it's pretty hard to have a good understanding of them, which is where this loadout comes into play. Although we do not completely know the ins and outs of all the maps, we can still know the basics and therefore build a loadout based upon such. So this loadout is really just meant to be a strong introduction loadout to the Bespin DLC. Even if you don't completely know the maps yet, this loadout should be pretty suitable for all of the maps in general, and you should be able to do quite well with it. and therefore get a better understanding of the map as you go. Now, I am planning to make a loadout which is more tailored towards the overall theme of Bespin rather than the maps themselves, so watch out for that. Something using the new Bespin star cards and charge cards and blasters, of course. So that'll be coming soon. I also have some other ideas for Bespin related videos, as well as just Battlefront in general, and maybe some other games sprinkled in there as well. If you have any suggestions for any Battlefront loadouts you would like to see, please put it in this description, not the description, put it in the comments down below, sorry. And of course, let me know how you're liking the Bespin DLC. I know that I, for one, am liking it a lot. It really brings back that old Battlefront 1 feel of those Bespin maps that we saw there. So I'm really liking it. Let me know how you are. So that will be all for today. Thank you all for watching. And as always, I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.